buck. I know that 8-point.
I don't even think he'll fit in my freaking chest freezer, to be honest with you. Like, it is the craziest thing I've ever seen. I'm gonna have to go buy ice and like keep him on ice all night until I can take him to the taxidermist in the morning.
You're probably just gonna have to buy a cooler, like, just to keep the antlers. Like,
yeah.
Jesus, dude.
Yeah, I think that's probably what I'll have to do is try to get the head and the cave submerged. All right, dude. Well, good luck today. I'm gonna go get some sleep, but I'll give you a holler at some point today, probably.
All right, later, brother. Congratulations.
Bye. Yeah, thanks, man. Bye.
Bye. I'm in a hybrid setup today with my saddle and my stand, and I'm way up in an observation sitting in a willow overlooking the marsh with kind of low cover. The cover is much higher than deer height, but it's not cattail, so it's a little bit lower in this section. I might be able to see them, being that I'm about what would be the equivalent of 7 sticks high right now. And a lot of tree climbing up branches to get where I'm at. What I want to do is get a beat on that 10. My buddy Jake Bush called me. Told me that the big 8 that he's been after for 4 or 5 years is dead now. And at first I was really sad, and then he said because I shot him. And man, that just completely made my day. I'm so happy for that dude. He's so deserving. We just gotta let the world wake up. It's a beautiful thing to be in a tree stand before sunrise. I'm gonna soak it in. A couple bucks. Kind of going downwind of me. That one might have just seen me move. I don't think they're shooters. Good deer though. $70 might be the closest that they get. They're gonna be downwind of me in a sec here. It's a good buck. Yeah, he's downwind. Not big enough. Trying to get an idea on who they are. works though. Just not quite big enough. I know that 8-point. They're right downwind me. Just gonna kind of observe what they do here. Let them bed down. Those aren't ones I'm interested in killing this early. That one right there in front, that was pretty nice. Wind is shaking the hell out of the camera here. Love to see him in bed. Let's get that one still tailing him. I gotta zoom in this far just so I can see him on the screen here. Where's that smaller one? I think. Gotta admit though, they were not in a comfortable range for me. So I can't be a holier than thou and say I didn't pass on, or say I passed on that deer complete, but I'm not gonna be making a play on those deer tonight. That's not really what I'm going for. Just a young buck though. No one behind, it's just a young buck too. Right downwind now. They smell me. It's a little late. That's cool. It's cool to get a lot of visual on deer and good bucks too. First one's definitely mature buck. Not quite the size I was looking for. Probably realistically actually a 3.5-year-old deer. Something I'm not opposed to shooting. Essentially the value in that is that they're exhibiting mature buck behavior. That deer is one that would act similarly to one I would shoot. And then on top of it, all 5 deer went the same route, came from the same area. They were not part of the same group originally, part of 2 different groups. And they did the exact same thing to an extent. So, with them doing the same thing, it might not be a deer I want to shoot in that group, but 1, I can learn from that for next year. And 2, most importantly, it's going to give me some information on how I'm going to kill this year, how these deer are probably going to move around. So notice like a lot of those deer are avoiding trees. They're kind of in an area that there aren't many trees to set in. Now, I'm not within range of them, but maybe for a half second there. So I don't really think this is a tree I could count on killing them out of. And they're traveling through this really tall grass. It's really hard to observe them. I noticed that those last 2, those bigger bucks, the first 2 bucks, went back towards a point likely to bed. So I think that those points jutting out in a monotonous cover, specifically the cover that doesn't have many trees, is really valuable. I also noticed that they still use this transition cover in between over here in this grass, using a transition, using the taller cover to their advantage, and trying to get a buffer between them and whatever they were not too confident about, which I'm sure is just a little whiff of my scent that they got. So what I am going to take from this and apply it is 1, these bucks are going to travel in transition of open terrain. They're mostly going to be in areas that not really going to be by trees, because that's where a lot of hunters are. They knew to look up in the tree the second that they started smelling something or hearing something. So know that mature bucks in this area are likely not going to be associating areas with a lot of trees. If they have to, it's probably because they're on a point and just about to bed down, or they're coming from an area to an area that they're planning on feeding. I also learned that with some cameras back here that I have set up, a couple cell cameras, actually in the direction that those deer came from. Now they're hundreds and hundreds of yards away, and those deer are hundreds and hundreds of yards away from those cell cameras, but they came from an area that I would expect them to be near or hanging out by at night. And I didn't get any pictures of any of those deer all throughout the night. So it tells me, 1, that cell cameras aren't everything. Now, I've known that for a while. That's why I'm sitting here. That's why I'm still observing this spot, is that cameras are not everything. And they're just a tool that you can learn from, but they aren't the end-all be-all, which is why you should go out and hunt it and observe. And this is how you're actually going to get that knowledge and information for it. And 2, I might need to refine my approach of these cameras and maybe associate them a little bit more to open areas. So there's a lot I can learn just from deer that I've just passed on. There's a lot for me to take in and kind of associate it to another situation that might come in a lot of handy later and actually really help me out.